Thank you, Your Honor. What happened that night changed everything. Because of him, four beautiful, genuine, compassionate people were taken from this world.
Dylan Mortonson, the only survivor from the horrible killing of her roommates in their apartment. She opened the door into a moment no one should ever see. A tall figure in all black, face covered, a cylindrical object in his hand. Moving toward the back of a college house that had finally gone quiet, he looked in her direction. Then he kept walking. That single decision of his, maybe the only reason she's alive to tell the story. In a case built on timelines and labs, her memory is the one thing that still breathes. It's also the thing everyone argues about. What did she really hear, and did she understand what it meant? But the setup for that split second started long before she cracked the door. Welcome back to the Criminal Minds. If you've ever lived in a college town, you know the rhythm. Friends drop in, someone's on the couch, music drifts. The sliding door doesn't always click shut, and in the morning you find beer cans where you swear you didn't leave them. This house had that energy and the vulnerabilities that come with it. A former roommate told detectives she often woke to find the sliding door unlocked, that blinds were scarce, that the layout seemed easy to watch from nearby spots. She even said the sliding door had been broken at one point and could be popped with the right jiggle. If the front keypad wasn't backed by the deadbolt, the door could open. You don't need a master key when access is a habit. And on this night, habit set the stage for confusion. Around 2 to 2:30 a.m., Dylan said that Maddie and Kaylee came home and brought truck food, and they had mac and cheese, and they ate. Later that night, closer to 4 to 4:20, she stirred. She heard movement, Murphy barking. She thought she heard Kaylee say something like, "Someone's here," the voice frantic and moving. She believed she heard footsteps on the stairs, the quick thud of Doc Martens, a sound she knew by heart. Then a male voice, calm, almost soothing. "It's okay. I'm going to help you." At that moment, she thought the crying was Kaylee in the second-floor bathroom. After learning more, she came to believe it was likely Xana. How detail matters. It shows you how fear, noise, and sleep twist the map of a house you think you know. And then came the moment she still replays. She opened her door again. Her vision felt blurry. A masked figure, dressed head to toe in black, moved past at close range. She later said about 3 feet. Taller than her by at least 3 inches, skinny but toned, like an athlete gliding down a lane. He looked toward her. He didn't stop. She thought what he held looked like a vacuum, which made no sense, and yet that's what her brain filed in the panic drawer. She believed he went out the back sliding door. She stood there in a silence that felt wrong and couldn't yet name why. What she did next was human. At 4:19 a.m., she began texting and calling. No answer. A friend replied about fireworks. Another data point that pushed the night toward weird rather than dangerous. She told detectives she didn't perceive a threat. People wandered in and out of that house all the time. She wasn't even sure how much of what she heard was real or alcohol blurred. This isn't a failing. It's a case study in how threat recognition collapses when the context screams normal night, while reality whispers run. Investigators know that gap, and they have tools for it. Detectives sat her down 2 days after the murders. They let her tell the story forward. Then, like experienced interviewers, they pulled her through it backward, a cognitive interview technique that helps lock scattered images into sequence. Fear, they know, can freeze a person at the worst possible time. Alcohol can smudge edges. None of that makes someone dishonest. It makes them human under stress. The analyst said defense would have hammered her consumption at trial. They would have. They also said she'd likely still read as credible, especially on the core. She saw a masked man in the house. Jurors don't need perfection. They need a line that holds. And as details settled, the larger picture of the house got sharper. The students had uneasy feelings long before that night. A man by the nearby apartments. A report of someone following to a car. Investigators said they didn't find a verified stalker tied to Kaylee, but the feeling remained. The analyst even described standing behind the home and seeing straight lines of sight into upstairs rooms. If you ever felt observed and couldn't prove it, you know where those details land. Later, investigators returned to collect more prints/DNA. After more investigations were made and DNA samples were tested, the masked man was identified as Brian Koberger, a criminology PhD student, who admitted he entered the home with intent to commit murder. He later sought a plea. His life was spared, and Dylan would have testified at trial but instead spoke at sentencing. However you feel about outcomes, remember the pivot point. A young woman stood in a hallway and saw a man who chose not to attack her. She has to live with what she saw and what she didn't understand in time to stop it. That's a heavy sentence the court can't issue, but people carry anyway.
For no reason. He didn't just take their lives. He took the light they carried into every room. He took away how they made everyone feel safe, loved, and full of joy. He took away the ability for me to tell them that I love them and that I'm so proud of them. He took away who they were becoming and the futures they were going to have. He took away birthdays, graduations, celebrations, and all the memories that we were supposed to make. All of it is gone. And all the people who loved them are just left to carry that weight forever. He didn't just take them from the world. He took them from me, my friends, my people who felt like my home, the people I looked up to and adored more than anyone. He took away my ability to trust the world around me. What he did shattered me in places I didn't know could break. I was barely 19 when he did this. We had just celebrated my birthday at the end of September. I should have been figuring out who I was. I should have been having the college experience and starting to establish my future. Instead, I was forced to learn how to survive the unimaginable.
Now, how could a man have access to an apartment he doesn't live in? We believe that this is a planned act. He has been planning these for weeks, if not months. Remember when the roommates made a report about someone standing across the road watching the house, also feeling like someone is following them around? Sometimes they will come back and notice that their windows have been unlocked and some blinds are not how it was when they left. Those were signs that he was monitoring and planning how he would commit a murder. It's easy to script heroics in hindsight. Kick doors. Dial 911. Save the night. Real life is Messier. It's half sleep and misread sounds. It's the brain trying to fit terror into normal, because normal is safer to believe. That doesn't make witnesses unreliable. It makes them human. If anything, Dylan's account explains why good interviewing and careful forensics matter. Because when the mind can't carry all the weight, the process has to. In that hallway moment, vision fuzzy, sound confusing, what do you think most people would actually do? Freeze, run, or dismiss it as nothing? Drop your take below. I'll be in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe.